Hey guys, Josh from the Redneck Homestead channel here. We're over at the link belt excavator, and last time we were here working with a sawmill, we developed some hydraulic problems. We've got some hydraulic lines, at least one, maybe two, that are leaking or parted, and we need to get to the bottom of that before we can run the machine anymore. So come along, we'll take a look and see what we find. Rob, last time we were here, you're the one who raised your hand and said, hey, hold on, what's going on? What did you see last time?
One of the rubber drive lines is leaking around the fittings right down in here.
Okay.
And then up top there's a steel line. Where's it at? Back on this manifold.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's leaking around the manifold or around the pipe itself.
Okay. Well, let's take it all apart and see what we come up with. This is a top view here of the swing motor here. And the swing motor's got its own hydraulic supply and return, and its whole little system in and of itself that is powered, obviously, from the hydraulic pump back here underneath that grate, running through this hydraulic apparatus here. And this is the source of the problem, and I'm not sure exactly where it is. If you look down here just forward of the swing motor, this is where your drive supply and return for each side takes place, and we replaced a couple of the hoses over the winter. Rob, do you have any idea where it's leaking in here?
I believe it's either this one or the one below it.
Okay. Now, where did you notice that it was leaking? Was it...
From the way it looked, it was just kind of spraying out, so I'm not sure if it was the fact that the bolts might be loose.
Okay.
Or there might be a crack. The only way we're going to find out is to start it up. And
now, when we had that problem over the winter,
yep,
when we were swinging and this caster here was seized up from the ice, do you think it's possible that we exerted a lot of pressure on that steel line?
Yeah, it could have just twisted everything, because everything twisted up and then just chased backwards.
Right. Okay. Well, what do you think the first step is?
First step is start it up and find out exactly where it is.
Sounds like a plan. The guy only gave me one set of keys when we bought the machine, and it was this right here. What do you think of that? I guess over the years the ignition switch just decided it's going to give way. Turn it all the way backward. Give it some glow plugs. It's pretty warm today though. It's going to be like 70. It's probably 60 right now. I like to heat it up a little bit though. Well, while we have the hood open, that's my turbo job that Rob and I worked on last fall and winter. It's hobbled together. We made the whole thing work by fashioning some pieces out of some steel and some brake lines. We did so in the wood shop, if you can believe it, and it works great. It works absolutely awesome. We welded on this new smokestack onto the muffler, made some muffler patches, and everything's working great. But of course, it wouldn't be a Redneck Homestead challenge unless something else broke. So that's what we're dealing with now. Did you find it, Rob?
Yeah, this one right here.
Hang on, let me try to get down here with the camera.
It's cracked right at the weld. See where it's oozing out. Right where my thumb is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And that one goes up to the center pump.
Interesting. Okay.
So it won't be too bad to get off. The hard part's gonna be getting those bolts on the bottom.
Yeah.
But
there's a whole bunch of essential tools that are necessary when working on heavy equipment. And one such set of tools that's absolutely imperative is a heavy set of socket-driven hex heads. This is a metric and a US set. The metric runs from 2mm to 19, and the US runs from 3/4 all the way down to 5/64. We're using an 8mm right now to remove this the steel hydraulic line. Standing from a distance here, I gotta tell ya, as worse for the wear as she looks, it really is a good machine. And from my perspective, I just want to make the comment that this machine has really taught me a lot. As I've mentioned to you guys in the past, I don't have a lot of heavy equipment repair experience. But you know, having bought this for such short money in the scheme of things, I feel like even if I make you know, a major mistake in repairing or servicing it, I haven't really injured myself financially too much, because at the end of the day, this guy is worth just about as much as I paid for it in scrap value. So this has been a great training exercise for me, and it's certainly not something that I would be as free to do on my John Deere machine, which of course is a much newer and much more serious machine. But just wanted to make that comment. If you have the ability to grab an older machine that is going to do the trick for you, but not kill you financially, one way to move forward is to see how low you can get it and compare that to the value of the equipment in scrap, just because the stuff is all steel. It's high quality, high grade tool steel, and it weighs a ton. Actually, it weighs many tons. So just a few thoughts for you. At it and having the machine all taken apart as we do, I decided to pull out the hydraulic return filter. The fellow that I bought this machine from seemed to be very proud that this machine had run for so many years without changing any filters, and you know, I think it must be just his luck, his good luck, because when you neglect a piece of equipment like this, especially the hydraulic system, it can be like ridiculously expensive. And you know, this is probably the best spent $135 that you could imagine on this machine to filter the very fluids that are powering the essence of this machine, all the hydraulic limbs and mechanisms, and that is after all, that is the purpose of this machine. And to properly filter the fluids is essential. But this old buck decided that he was too cool for that, I guess. Working with, buddy?
Line that's cracked. You can see the crack right here.
Yeah? Oh boy. It looks like it might have been welded at one point, huh?
It was. They're all welded on. So we might be able to weld it back.
Let's give it a shot and see. I mean, you think it's something we can do today in the shop?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go do it. We have the steel hydraulic line that failed. We've got it clamped up in a vise on a welding table, and we're going to clean it all up and get it ready for repair. Now, the way we're going to repair this is with a 40% silver solder. It has a, I want to say like 40 or 50,000 PSI rating. Okay, the surface that we're going to be brazing is all cleaned up. If I can get in close enough, you can see the crack. It's kind of a hairline crack, but it goes around probably, see it? Right to the left of my finger there. It goes around probably half of the pipe, if you can believe it. Alright, there's the finished silver braze right there. I've got to confess, this is only my second or third time brazing with silver solder using an oxyacetylene torch, and my work is not necessarily beautiful, but I believe this is going to hold no problem. In fact, many pros say that you absolutely do not need to overbraze and put a lot of the silver material in, and that flux just sucks it right in. But after I was sure that I had a really good solder, I decided to fill it in with a little more material. I don't know, maybe it just makes me feel better to do that. So we're gonna go back up to the machine and put it in and see how our repair worked. Kind of hard to see it from here, but the line is all reinstalled. One on the right there, and it goes all the way back there. Kind of difficult to see with the sun glare. Next thing is we got to start this machine up and see what happens. Well, I'm very happy to report that my silver braze held on very nicely. We ran the machine at some pretty hot RPMs and worked the hydraulics pretty well, and it hung on. What do you say, Rob?
It's going. No leaks.
No leaks?
It's good right now.
Well, there was a leak. What was that? Why don't you tell everyone what that was from?
One of the fittings come loose, so I had to tighten it up.
Oh, no, I mean the other one, after we put the steel.
Oh, the hose I forgot to connect.
I'm like, why are we losing gallons of hydraulic oil?
Miscalculation.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give us a thumbs down. That's fine. We want your constructive criticism. But either way, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, now is the time. Hit the subscribe button and be notified of updates and new videos and things. We're always doing some pretty cool, fun stuff here on the Redneck Homestead, and we look forward, now that the weather's getting really nice, we look forward to bringing a lot of new videos and new wild adventures. So until the next video, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.